I grew up in Staten Island, New York, about a 7-minute walk from where Eric Garner was killed.
I'm one of 10 children who grew up in public housing.
There were places that were like black zones, there were white zones, and there were neutral zones.
Even till this day, I've always had a fear of police officers. And it's because of that fear of police officers that I'm a community organizer.
The people who are being harmed by police, they're just regular folks, they're just doing regular things. They're driving to the store, they're trying to get a pack of Skittles, they're hanging out on the block.
I knew a police officer. I say to him, why can an officer kill a kid in New York on Friday, come to work on Monday and talk about the barbecue that he had with y'all? What's going on with that? Why are they so comfortable being so violent?
Rather it's through the training, rather it's through what they hear on the media, rather it's through what their grandparents told them coming up, right? It's a generational thing.
It's grandfathered in. And so it's hard to change a culture that's been there for so long.
Regardless of what the grand jury decided, the world saw a man get choked to death on the street by a law enforcement officer in broad daylight for no real reason. It shocked people that police officers would behave so violently in that kind of situation.
And people are getting angry and frustrated and talking to one another. And I think the fact that they're talking to one another now is what's sparking this huge moment.
We've figured out that if we really coordinate and collaborate, that we actually have a lot of power.
A lot of people who have been involved in this work have been involved for 5, 10, 20, 30 years. The time politically and culturally and socially is more right now than ever to really make lasting impacts, lasting reform.
The decisions in Ferguson and Staten Island, where you saw local prosecutors handling these cases with police departments with which they work routinely, has made people deeply uncomfortable with that sort of close relationship between local prosecutors and local police departments.
The Special Prosecutor Campaign brought together Black and Latino families who all recognized that there was a systemic problem that had impacted all of their cases in the same way. One of the things that they were doing was lifting their arms up together like this, touching all of their hands together, and that's actually what they did right after the governor signed the executive order. Having institutions with legal expertise, with policy expertise, to be able to come to the table to offer advice has been hugely important. Working with organizations like LDF is essential for us to actually get to where we're trying to go.
Where is the justice? Where is the justice?
Public trust is built from the ground up. Unless the community sees a real move to discipline officers who are being brutal, nothing will change.
You don't get a pass for killing someone because you're a police officer. And so that means that as a prospective juror, as a grand juror, we have to go into these circumstances questioning, sort of rigorously what happened out there.
And then we also have to have an end to broken windows policing. There has to be proactive policies that put an end to discriminatory policing, that target communities of color over other communities.
There really needs to be a demilitarization of the police department, not just in terms of the collection of ammunition and sort of the weapons of warfare, but also in terms of the mentality.
There's also legislation that can impact the daily interactions that police have with community members. And it's those daily interactions that also have to change, because those are the ones that end up escalating into unnecessary violence.
Building solidarity, definitely, and building a greater understanding of how systemic racism works in the United States is going to be important.
I still hear my brothers crying. I can't breathe.
I can't hear y'all.
Now I'm in the struggle, saying I can't leave. And we ain't gonna stop till our people are free. We ain't gonna stop till our people are free.